Well, welcome back to Mr. Obsolete's Vintage Homesteading. Today will be part 4 of our set of videos, The Day the Earth Stood Still. And it's about processing that 145-foot tree. And what we've done is we used each saw in different portions of it. And the smallest one, the Stihl 025 here, on the small end. And then we'll go through each one. I'll talk a little bit about each saw, and then we'll show you some pictures of cutting and whatnot. So anyway, this is a homeowner grade saw. It's still rated at 3 horsepower, and I call BS because it doesn't have that much. It's actually at 2.6, I find. But what I was using it for was right to the limit of what it can do. And you know, each saw has its own purpose. You need to, like on this one, it's a little homeowner farm saw for real light duty work. It's light, easy to start. It's 44.3 cc. And so, like I say, we started on the small end of the tree with this. And we'll have some pictures of it cutting and move on to the next one. Okay, well, as the tree started getting bigger, the 025 wasn't quite powerful enough to do any real heavy-duty cutting, so we moved up to our Stihl 031. The 031 here is kind of interesting because it's only slightly bigger displacement than the 025. It's 48 cc, and it's rated at 3.15 horsepower. But like I say, with the 025, still calling it 3 horsepower is BS because this thing will eat it for lunch. This thing has a lot more power. Now the 025 has a high engine speed but has no torque, so it's easy to stall in a knot or whatever like that. This actually has a good balance of horsepower and torque. This is a really ideal little saw for firewood cutting and brush removal and stuff like that. So anyway, we'll move on to the next size. Well, the tree got bigger, so we needed a bigger saw. So yeah, I don't have any mid-size Stihls, so we went from little bitty 44 to 48 cc, and the small one has a 16-inch bar, and the 031 has a 18-inch bar. And like I say, we only have 4 Stihls in our whole collection, so went from medium to big. So this is a 051. It's 89 cc. It's got a 36-inch bar on it. And we did most of our cutting with this. This is a really powerful saw. It's rated at 5.8 horsepower. And it's a medium speed saw. I think it cuts about 8,000 to 8,200 under a load. 8,500 is a governor. Kicks in so it doesn't run too fast. But anyway, one thing I really like about, I like these roller nose bars. They just look really neat when they're running. Don't see them too much anymore. Obsolete like me. So anyway, there again, I'm just moving up in each saw for the bigger the wood, so we'll be back with our next one. Well, for the last part of the tree, I'm going to use our big saw. So this is our Stihl 075. It's 111 cc, 7 horsepower. Cutting speed on the chain is 7,000 RPM. This is a kind of the last of the old school saws. You know, many of the old saws ran at a relatively low RPM, but as they progressed, you know, like I say, the L51's about 8,200, and now they run 10, 12, 13, 14,000 RPM. But this is a real torquer. Gets in a wood and just keeps cutting, even though it's not that fast. But this has got a 60-inch bar on it. Got 404 skip chain on it. And like I say, it runs relatively slow, but you know, you can keep working all day with them. It just won't be as fast as the new saw. One of our subscribers said he just did some work on a MS-880, which is a fairly new saw. Slightly more displacement, I think maybe 121 cc. 1.5 more horsepower than this, which isn't a whole lot, but the chain speed is a whole lot faster. So it's a modern saw, obviously, but these saws suffered a lot. You know, they were used in a commercial field a lot, most exclusively, and you know, they were abused, and a lot of loggers took the carburetors apart and took out the governor piece in them so they'd run faster and they'd cut faster, then they'd blow up. And the 051 and the 075 like this, they have a couple of flaws on them too. The starters are a low quality thing that Fairbanks Morse made them. It's not very good. They failed quite often. And the other one I had was that the electronic ignition was made by Bosch, was prone to getting moisture in it and failing. That was a real common problem with them. So it's unusual to have a couple of these big old hogs still out cutting. Well, here we have Mr. Obsolete's complete collection of Stihl chainsaws. Pretty small, eh? A lot of people like collecting one brand of saw. I just like kind of have a broad selection of them. But one thing that's unusual about all of these saws, every one of them was a gift. Yeah, it's really nice people, you know, they see it, you put up videos and talk about them and stuff and actually use them. It's a lot better than sitting around in their garage collecting dust, so they show up here. Yeah, like I say, there's a few Stihls I'd like to have. I'd like to have one of the fairly early ones, the upright cylinder, just kind of neat looking. And I don't have a mid-size one, so I think the 066 mag is probably a saw that would be probably one of the best mid-size saws. Most loggers and professionals thought that was one of the best saws Stihl ever made. And of course the other one I'll probably never ever have, but would be a 090. That was a predecessor of the big saws. It was 134 cc if I remember right. But anyway, gotta remember each one has its place. You know, you start out small with small stuff, small firewood, brush cutting, a bit bigger, you know, heavy duty firewood cutting, medium-sized trees, and great big trees. So one thing I wanted to show on the 075 here, this great big long bar here is pretty cumbersome. It weighs 46.5 pounds with this bar and chain on it. And rarely do I ever get big trees like we just cut up. So the thing I'm going to do, get a 42-inch roller nose bar here I'm going to put on it at some point. And you can see that how much smaller that is. But anyway, just like our motto, use what you have. I'll see you on the next exciting video.